Ah yes, Borderlands 2. Sick visual style, great graphics, it punched through 3 generations of consoles, and it's got explosions. Oh hey look, it's Enter the Gungeon. Classic pixelated art style, bullet hell, roguelite, procedural generation. Borderlands 2 got a midquel, a sequel, and Enter the Gungeon just got its last update, and a sequel, infusing a whole new character into the game. Man, I don't think anything could improve these.
Hey, so what if I combined the two and then made all the playable characters furries?
Gunfire Reborn is an FPS roguelite that combines repetitive, storyless grind that we all love oh so much, that if it means you're like me, it means you get one game for every console that you can get your paws on. With the thrill of the looter-shooter genre that features the repetitive grind of Kirby-inhaling equipment, sorting through all the thickest numbers, equipping them, and then proceeding to burn the rest at the shopkeep because that's what gets their rocks off. We've all played at least one version of these nowadays. I mean, a new one came out like a month ago before I wrote this script. That, or it's been like 5. The next thing you're going to say is,
"But Oisy, I'm here to hear about the DLC and whether or not it's worth my money, in my opinion, juxtaposed to yours. Who the hell even is Sung Wojak?"
Okay, sweetie, I need you to take a breath, take a sip of water, and just be a little bit patient with me. I know that's asking a lot coming from me, but we'll get to that soon. For now, I'm going to toss it over to Remi. You start off in a dungeon. Duh. There's a chest to the left of a big glowing door. Should you choose to accept it, the chest gives you a choice of 3 weapons at random. Once you leave, you're confronted with enemies. Each room leads to either another room for you to explore, get locked in with a bunch of targets until you either fall or leave, or a bunch of crypt traps for you to speed through. Keen-eyed players will notice the cracks in the walls. Shooting these opens challenge portals, usually containing an elite enemy, basically a mid-boss. They're usually referred to as vaults, because it's just easier that way. As you explore, you'll meet this little frog. She's the peddler, usually showing up in a random room when you don't need her to, desperately needs something she probably doesn't have, and right before the boss of the area. She carries a range of items, including the standard ammo, health, and skill nade refills. And next to those, she can also have a few weapons or even occult scrolls to buy. As you meet her, you'll also run into this buff bastard here. This is the blacksmith, an armsman to the stars, capable of leveling up your weapons twice per encounter with him, should you have the necessary fee. He also follows the same rules as the peddler, but only upgrades weapons, incrementally increasing the price as you pack on the punch. But completing whatever task is in the room, you're rewarded with health, money, soul essence, ammo, and even weapons. These new weapons may be better or have better colored words than what you have. These little fine prints in the gun box are inscriptions, and it's what I'm gonna call them from now on because calling them a fine print genuinely just hurt me. These inscriptions are basically special things that the gun does if you meet certain requirements. These range from the low-end useless of small percent stat boost to your character and not the gun, and increasing the scope movement speed or something like that, to the game-breaking of basically giving you an endless source of places to pull clips from while patting you on the head and massaging your shoulders for being scoped for longer than 3 seconds, cause that way you won't miss. Gemini inscriptions, you don't have those yet, basically give a shared skill betwixt your entire loadout, sometimes basically combining the abilities of both, making a normal damage pistol not only deal elemental damage, but make the guy you're shooting at pulse damage out of his buddies for standing too close. So, you fight your way through a few rooms and get stronger until you get to this big double door to meet the double salespeople on either side. This door is the boss room. So you know what to do with this. Speak to them, see if the peddler has some useful stuff, see if you can afford a bit more DPS with the smith, and step into the boss room to again either fall or move past them, causing what Mr. Torg of Borderlands fame has coined a loot explosion. After inhaling all of the good stuff and sifting through thick data, hop into that portal. It leads to a rest area before the next dungeon area, to once again scratch one bogey. Alright, loop's out of the way. Wait, hang on, no it's not. They added a new game mode that changes all of that. Boise, the fuzz you on about? Blue boy, take a seat. I got this one. Before we begin, let's talk about concentration. Spiritual concentration is basically going to be your talent set for this game mode. While sure you have your talents, dude, seriously, just be patient. This little 2x2 square that you spend so long to turn into a nice Thier plus not only helps to keep you alive, but hitting with the might of Zeus, which also keeps you alive. Each jade piece, that's what they're called, has a specific shape. You basically Tetris your way through making some plans, spinning, mixing, and matching buffs to fit your character and playstyle, so that way we can open the door to the assault. You begin center field of, you guessed it, a dungeon. But like a real dungeon. The path loops around instead of having you weave through stony stairs and wooden walkways. You have full freedom to run and dash at your leisure. No doors are in your way. This is necessary because you just turned the game into a horde shooter. Waves upon waves of enemies will begin to pour into the map from the literal edges of it, all with one goal in mind. You, on the ground, not breathing anymore. Each kill you net gains you a bit of spiritual essence. Remi, sit down, which levels you up after you get a nice smattering of it. You can bank these levels for a choice of 3 weapons, skills, or an upgrade. There's also a quit button after level 3 if you're a bit... It skips a choice for you. The more waves you clear, the more events will occur throughout. 10 minutes through the rounds, the devs go, know what? Screw those guys, they fishy. Bumping off every single enemy in the entire dungeon, only to give you about a minute to prepare for a bigger wave of enemies that hit harder. Elites. Not singular, plural. The waves will continue to get harder and harder for you, giving you weapon after weapon and even tossing a goblet of power your way every so often, until you finally clear the boss wave at the end of the half-hour survival timer. We don't have footage of that. I haven't gotten there yet. So now that we have both gameplay loops done and out of the way, just who the fuck even are you? Our cast opens with our cat caster, the Crown Prince, a traveler from the spirit realm, blessed with alchemical knowledge to the stars. If you've played Borderlands 2 before, this little cutie is the exact reason you found this game familiar once you finally looked up from Borderlands 2, Curse of Dead Gods, Dead Cells, and both enter and exit the dungeon. You see this smug sake-sipping cinnamon bun right here? He's Maya. By studying the alchemical arts, he's gained the ability to phase-lock enemies with his energy orb. Said same arts also instructed him on how to concoct powerful poisons. Who's that mean? This little dude basically can weave through the battle, stopping enemies in place to maximize damage. At lucky builds, he essentially activates an AoE the world that stops you in place, freezes, burns, or poisons your buddies next to you, makes swords sprout from your hips, and turn you into a team-killing Beyblade. This is while dealing DPS not only with his weapons, but his poison grenades, which make small persistent puddles of aerated miasma, debuffing those who step on it, and sometimes making them explode in more poison too. It's too bad your speed stat's trash, so you're reliant on specific skill builds if you suck some off at schmoovin'. So remember when I said I'm impatient? Cool, let's fast forward to when you're level 25. This Bastion bupper is named Ao Bai, who officially has the easiest name for me to guess off of prior phonetic knowledge of syllables. From Danganronpa. Bai is reason 2 why BL2 fans found this game eventually. As a weapons master with a passion for the explosion, you see why I'm loving the fact that this dude's a BL fan attractor? He's not only able to commit powerful frags, but he can dual wield most firearms with ease.
English, you daft fuck!
Ao Bai is a fun zerker with a bag of full contact bombs. At high enough builds, he lives in this state. With a minigun in one arm and a bomb launcher in the other, he literally heals from shooting. He's Salvador, but not a heal. He still eats ammo for all meals, but his shields suck at taking it, so he takes health damage more often. Doesn't matter, Roddy's health pool can get dummy high, and his skill is useless with some weapons. But let's hit that fast forward button again, shall we? Here, we have the based bustling burb, Qingyan. I'd say he's brick, but he's more like if you have Kree's momentary void rage gets stronger every time he blunt force slaps somebody with the flat end of his buzz axe. Okay, bear with me here. Jan, unlike everyone else within our cast, does not carry a regenerative shield. You know, that pussy shit. Instead, he wears his divine protection proudly on his tunic and bracers.
Aye. Get to the point.
Jan has the teachings of Guy Sensei as he uses the flying jump kick or dynamic entry. With this ability, he not only deals a massive amount of AoE damage in a single kick, he also refills his armor to a certain point every time he hits someone with it. And after get bungling along your way through the dungeons, he can whip this attack altogether and refill 90% of his armor. This is besides the fact that he zips around the battlefield with increased speed, and instead of a grenade, deals out divine destruction the way his mama taught him by smacking some sense into his foes bare wings. What sucks is your armor doesn't regen unless you kill things, and being too far off in the brawl makes you effectively holiday dinner. This is This is Lei Luo. While masquerading as the first unique character by having lightning casts that deal tons of damage, as you spec out, you realize he's actually one of the classic archetypes of the FPS series. The Sniper. This is a crit cat. A king of the crit with a current that makes you quit. This kit can hit from so far it's too legit, or let loose with the electric hit that splits and doesn't know how to quit, but keeps foes sick. Lei is a sniper first and a blaster second. His lucky builds turn semi-autos into compact truck trebuchets that want to send you off to a far-off land in trouble. He's effectively a glass cannon that can't take a strong enough punch, both health and shield-wise. Also, he sucks with bullet sprayers, but if he hits you, you're really gonna feel what perforation is like. I bet you're expecting me to push the fast forward button again, right? Well, I actually have to boost you for a sec, because you don't need levels to get characters now, you need soul, which means you need soul essence, jade, or level up points. Come here.
Oh my god!
Look at how freaking cute she is! This is Dao, a master of blade control, and boy is she expansive though, honey. This bunny turns the game into a speed run because Stop that! This isn't that video. That's already posted. Don't do that. Anyway, she's high speed, high ammo consumption, high DPS. She's the Doomslayer. She's Doom Guy. She's the Doomslayer. She's Doom Guy. You ever wanted to turn a roguelite into Doom? Talk to this girl here and bring a fee of 40 soul essence. Just, you know, don't suck some off at Doom and you should be fine. Hey, what's that over there?
Oh my god!
Look at this chunky little waterbender here. Bet you're expecting a TMNT joke, right? Well, that's irrelevant here, unfortunately. I actually wish I could make one.
Sui
Is a tank with a rocket engine attached to it. This dude has the ability to not only move like water, but channel it to protect him from his good side, while allowing him to make Sharkeisha proud with how hard he throws them hands. I know, less gay, more stat. He has a frontal shield ability that he can use to block damage, which unfortunately forces him to only use his fists for attacks. This is unfortunate for his enemies, not him. This tanky tortoise is meant to be up in the enemy's face with a melee on his back at the ready for when he bull rushes you with hurdle on dash and an incoming giant fist. You, should probably come up with a plan for what happens when that eye preservation of the aspis goes down and you have a face full of ugly to deal with at point blank. Oh yeah, you're probably confused as to why I didn't inject you with copper sulfate yet, now that there are 2 more people here instead of just 1. Well, that's because I paid your entrance fee. It wasn't that much, don't sweat it. Anywho, look at her. Look at her. Look at her!
I like fire.
Don't let her cuddly, adorable exterior fool you. This fox wants to burn you and your house. This is Lee, a fox with a mastery of fire magic and an apathy for authority. While certain builds also seem to... No, we already made that joke. We already made that joke. This is Fire, the character. I'm not kidding. Her spiritual flame is a 2-stage fireball that, if you can wait like 4 seconds, evolves to deal extra damage and have more fireballs orbiting it. At high enough builds, you gain an ascension that lets the fireball evolve again into a screw-off massive kitsune that gallops along the battlefield in a straight line before colliding with something and just exploding. And when she's not summoning OG Naruto MacGuffins, she's dropping bombs Sephiroth style with her blazing meteor spell. If you don't understand this character yet, allow me to quote the great Joe Crap by Joe Cat by chanting, "Just fireball, just fireball, just fireball, just fireball, just fireball, just fireball." Suckish part is you're a caster first and a gunner second, so if you're not spell slinging, well, you ain't gonna be breathing. I bet you're expecting me to unplug, download a DLC, and replug you in the process of like a second or two again, right? Well, I don't have to do that. Lee and Sugukong are from the same realm. Sun Wukong, Sun Goku, Sung Wojak. Jeez. Sing Chu, whose name I looked at and immediately knew I'd have to look up how to say, is Sung Wojak, not to be confused with Sung Wukong, who is not Sung Wojak, but is who inspired the creation of Son Goku. Chu is a buffing beast with 2 skills that totally don't act as proof of him being Sung Wukong of the acclaimed Journey to the West tales. His Soul Strike allows him to pluck a strand of fur and toss it like a knife at enemies before shapeshifting it into a shadow clone that mods its stats based on your held weapon to strike the enemy. Well, he also has his Essence Chain, which he wields like a whip, boosting his weapons by wrapping foes' necks with it You know, that sounds a lot like Wukong's helm, but like, with the answer being different. This meticulous monkey is meant to master the buff. His chain augments buffs depending on what weapons he has, making him a jack-of-all-trades master of fun. This does kinda hinder him though, because if you have a specific build in mind, it's procedural generation tradition for the game's furry RNGesus to politely flip you off for having the nerve to beg him for any specific weapon at all. On the bright side though, I was able to make an absolutely stupid skill plan that makes it so he basically farts out a new weapon every time he levels up, turning me into the Borderlands 3 Iridian Fabricator. But I'm a chimp. Don't ask questions. This is probably the reason you're here. Zishao. Astrology? What animal is that?
Right. What do you call a magic owl? Houdini!
New contender for my favorite character, Ze utilizes the power of astrological divination to sever enemy chakra flow by observing the divine cosmic to accurately foresee the enemy's ultimate downfall, even casting a rather nasty horoscope onto their day. That joke physically hurt to tell. Yeah, I know, in English. His deck can be drawn from to send out homing cards for protection, and his Astro House gains attack power based on how many similar cards you have in a suit. On high builds, he gets buffs for making pure suits, and even for discarding impure suits. And one card pull can go from summoning 3 to nearly 10 plus homing bolts of 52 of 200 damage each. Essentially, this character combines the best parts of astrology and poker, because as a Virgo, my silent stoicism can outweigh even the greatest challenges. I may seem like a poor pauper, but I'm secretly that card queen with a royal flush in my wing. Another caster main. That deck of cards should be orbiting you at all times, especially since these cards make your bullets hit harder, so running low on specials or ammo isn't to your benefit. And making pure suits is a lot harder than you think when RNG runs your main weapon. Nona, being the only character whose name didn't require any supplementary knowledge and can be mistaken for a child calling for their grandmother, Nona is an artificer with one heck of a pilot, and the next Borderlands amalgam of the video. So remember Gage from Borderlands 2? Well, apparently when she schwaxed Wilhelm, she ripped off his shoulder cannon, connected it to her bionics, found a small companion, adjusted Deathtrap to be driven, gave him more upgrades, and then became a furry. In that exact order. I'm serious. This little bear is accompanied by a chicken driving a mecha that floats around the field throwing robotic hands. With a scroll of the wheel, she transforms the mecha bastion style into a turret. Instead of a nade, she has a wood rocket. Her shoulder-mounted launcher, in my humble opinion, was programmed to be spam. I mean, why wouldn't I? I'm on cover fire duty now. Look at this thing. Hitting the skill button marks an area for a slam down. Dazing enemies caught it. In turret form, you reposition Iron Wing so the volley can continue. Being the technomantic union of 2 and pre-sequel, she's heavily reliant on that mecha to stay in the fight. So if Iron Wing goes down, it's time to use them diva strats, Jelly Kid. You unlock most of the weapons and arms through play. Leveling up by running the dungeons and spending soul on characters gets you more things to go boom bang and swing. Do something cool in the game and the game goes, well, hot damn, here's a skill, 3 guns, a pat on the head, a random money fart, and here's some stuff to help you going along on your run and you died trying to pick up the gun. Well, I had high hopes for you. But there's always next time.